Hi everyone, my name is Marcus and I'm a fibre artist from Glasgow in Scotland, and this is my little corner of YouTube where I like to share what projects I'm working on and exploring different crafts. This is going to be my January project update video, taking a look back at what I've been working on over the last month or so. As recently tends to be, this month has been pretty hectic, so I don't have huge amounts finished objects. I've not been, creating all of these wonderful things that I would like to. But I do want to go over some interesting things. The main reason that I haven't had much time to craft is that my partner and I got a dog. So this is Juno. Yes, hello Juno. She is a Czechoslovakian wolf dog and she is 10 weeks old and absolutely full of energy and sapping whatever energy I had, and likes eating my house plants. Yeah, she's 10 weeks old. We've had her for 2 weeks now. And we're slowly getting to know each other. Yeah. Starting to be able to communicate to each other a bit better, I think. Yeah, she's a big handful. And she is the reason why I don't have time to knit, because if I'm knitting around her, even though sometimes I am making toys for her, she thinks it's all for her. Which, yeah, that's not the case. I know I'm horrible. I'm absolutely horrible. So yeah, this little hell beast is the reason why I don't have much to show you. And I think she's had enough of me. So, on with the rest of the show. So let's just get stuck into it. First of all, Happy New Year everyone. I hope this one's been, this one's going to be good. The past few haven't been wonderful, so yeah, patterns and all that, we'll see what happens, but we'll just have to try and make the best of it. So the only finished objects I have to show are very small and hardly count as a finished object, but I'm really pleased with them anyway. So I do have 2 pairs of baby socks to show you just now. I did have more. I've given some away already because everyone is having children right now, as the case turns out to be. 2 of my friends are expecting. Actually, that's a lie. One of my friends just gave birth yesterday. And my other friend is due in May time, I believe, or no, it's April. And then my sister is due in May, so I have lots of baby things to knit. And just now, with everything that's going on in my life, I have the brain space for socks. That's kind of, I know I want to make baby things. I'll start with socks until I can figure out, what other patterns I want to work on, what other pieces I want to make for the various children that are appearing in my life just now. So this was one pair that I made. This is, so it's a spiral sock. So there is no heel to these socks. And the toes that I've done, they're, I don't know how to explain it. They're not flat. So usually when I'm knitting socks, when I'm doing the toe, I'm just decreasing at each side. So kind of goes up like that. Whereas I'm decreasing at 6 different points for these socks so that it's more like a cone. The reason I've done that is so it does not matter what angle you put the sock on, which is, a benefit of having the heel as well. You're just pulling the sock on the foot. I have knit a pair of these for myself using a specific pattern that I can't remember. I think it's like, heelless spiral socks or something like that. But I've modified it to accommodate what I need, to accommodate my needs, or what I need from the pattern. The pattern that I was using, I don't believe has baby sizes. I don't know if it has child sizes either. And I keep losing this. I keep dropping one of these. Here it is. So yeah, so you can see the spiral. It's not really a mistake. These are both going the same way. You know, the spiral is following the same direction on both of these socks. That's not a mistake, it's just I didn't intend to do that. I wanted them going in opposite directions, but I kind of figured out when I was nearly finished the socks that I hadn't done that. It makes no difference whatsoever. They're still cute, they're still tiny. But yeah, when I made these in an adult size, I don't love them. I wear them around the house mostly because they have a tendency to kind of slip down into my shoe, which is an absolutely awful sensation. But for, you know, people that aren't going to be wearing shoes or walking, who are only really wearing socks to keep their feet warm, and that's about it, these are perfect. Wearing them around the house are fine. But I think for a baby, having no heel, having, you know, the 6-pointed toe, I think it'll be great because you can just pull them on. But also, they'll, you know, maybe get a bit more wear out of them. Because there's no heel, you know, their foot can grow and it'll still fit in the sock. If you know what I mean. So yeah, so this was the first one that I made. This is just done with some, I think this is Drops Fable. It's some 4-ply sock yarn. And I used 2.5mm needles. These have 36 stitches. Yes, 36 stitches. And then I made this pair, which I done with 42 stitches. So yeah, these ones, I don't know if the lighting is going to behave. Yeah, you can see a bit better there. I've done the spiral going in opposite directions, which was what I intended to do from the start. Yeah, you can see it a bit better there. Just find that a bit more aesthetically pleasing. It makes no difference, but it brings me joy doing that. And just done the same again, but with 42 stitches, so it's a little bit wider. About the same length. Yeah, they're pretty much the exact same length. I don't really know what a baby foot looks like. I have a vague idea, but I don't really know size-wise. I've had a pattern for, you know, just standard traditional baby socks years ago. I don't even think I have the physical copy of it anymore. But yeah, I just remember like 36 was, well, not 36 exactly, but it was like 30 something stitches was the cast on for the newborn socks. So that's kind of where I went for. I just thought these look a bit small. I mean, it is ribbed across, so there is plenty of stretch in that. So I'm sure you could squeeze a baby foot in that, but I just wanted to try a 42 stitch and see what that looked like. I might do some more 42 stitches, but do them a bit longer. You know, maybe get a bit more wear. Might be a bit big for when the child is newborn, but you know, it will do for the child as it grows. So that's those. I do have this one as well. There is a second, but I don't know where it is. And this is in my own yarn. This is Sea Punk. This is one of the first colourways I came up with, and I use it for everything. Yeah, very cute. Very cute socks. I need to find the other one. I hope the dog hasn't eaten it. I doubt it, because she's not been anywhere near any of this, really. But who knows? She manages to kind of find things that she doesn't have access to anyway. And then I do have these ones that I'm working on just now, which I've done the heels. These I'm just doing Fish Lips Kiss heels. Well, short row heels. I'm not really following the Fish Lips Kiss pattern, but following the same concept. This is nice ribbed. It's not an arm, it's a leg. The legs are ribbed so that they, you know, hold on to the baby's leg. And then the foot, I've got a little bit more to do, but I'll be able to finish that this evening. I have already knit a pair of these socks in this yarn, the exact same, but I had a surprise visit from one of my friends who was expecting the other day to come meet the dog. and you know, I just finished a pair of these off, and I was like, oh, okay, here, take these, and I'll send you some more later on when I get around to finishing them. But yeah, so that is the baby socks. That's all of my finished objects. I know, not a whole lot for a month. And the kind of active WIP, the only active WIP that I have at the moment. So for the rest of this little episode, if you want to call it an episode, I'm gonna show you the WIP graveyard. I've got a few projects, not many actually, I thought I would have had more, but I've got a few projects that I was working on at some point and I have stopped a long time ago for some of these. One of them, the most recently touched one, I don't think it's been touched for over a year. That's the most recent one. The rest of them are old. So I'll go through, show you what they are. I'm going to need to make some decisions about whether I'm going to finish them, whether I'm going to continue with them. So yeah. First up, this is actually in a Greg's tote bag. If you're not familiar with Greg's, it is a kind of fast food bakery chain in the UK. They've done a collaboration with they've done a collab with Primark, the fast fashion clothing retailer. I seen the tote bags online and I just thought I needed to get that. It says Greg's fashion with flavour. Looking this good is tasty work. Yeah, it's ridiculous and I felt that I needed it. In here is, this is, oh, the crochet hook's still attached. Well, that's handy, so I know what size I was working on. This is the Scandi Birds blanket. I'm not making a blanket. It would be a pretty small blanket. But this is a Scandi Birds blanket by, oh my god, I can't remember your business name. I'm a huge fan. What is your business name? I have the pattern here. Get your hook on. I'm sorry. It's just a lovely, lovely person, but I'm terrible with people's business names. So yeah. So this is a pattern. It is mosaic crochet, which this is the first time I've ever done it. I thought it was going to be a lot more difficult than it was. It really wasn't difficult at all. But I got busy, I forgot about it, and now I don't remember how to do it. So I'm going to need to, you know what, I am going to pick this back up. This isn't getting frogged. I love this too much. But when I do start it again, I'm basically going to have to learn how to do mosaic crochet from scratch because I do not remember any of it whatsoever. But this, I'm going to be turning this into a cushion cover. But it's obviously, it's going to be a big cushion. But yeah, absolutely love it. I seen this, the first time I seen this was at Perth Festival of Yarn, maybe 2021. The way the venue was laid out was the marketplace was on one level and then there was like a mezzanine that they used, and Get Your Hook On had a load of their designs kind of hung over the banister of the mezzanine, and I was at my stall by myself that day and I just kept seeing like this hanging, and from where I was sitting they weren't birds, they were chickens, and I adore chickens with all my heart, and I was like, I need that, I absolutely need that. So yeah, finally started it and then totally forgot about it. The yarn I'm using, it is from, oh yeah, I remember this. It is the Women's Institute yarn. I just picked this up at Hobbycraft. I'd never been to Hobbycraft before in my life, and my partner and I went, for me, not for him, and it was kind of rubbish. Like, I'd been wanting to go since probably for like 20 years. Basically since I knew Hobbycraft existed, I've been wanting to go, but it's always been like away the complete other side of the city from me, and nobody would take me. So we finally went. It was kind of rubbish, and then I seen that they had some yarn, and I was like, oh, there's this pattern I've been wanting to make for ages. So managed to pick up some nice colours of this yarn. So I've got a few balls of this grey. I've got this nice, it looks, on camera it looks royal blue. It's more teal. It's definitely not that bold. Well, it's bold, but it's not like, like cobalt royal blue. It's definitely a bit more teal. It's a blue teal, but it's teal. And I have this nice kind of claret. Again, it looks more red on my screen, but it's got a lot more purpley undertones than what it is appearing on my screen currently. So, oh, and yeah, there's the like gold colour as well. Forgetting about the chickens, absolutely ridiculous behaviour. So obviously the gold is being used for the Scandi birds, and they are chickens. I'm using the winey colour for the little berries, and the teal I'm going to use for little trees. It's a really cute pattern. All of Get Your Hook On's patterns are mind-blowing. I don't know how she comes up with them. I certainly don't have that skill. But yeah, so this is my Scandi Birds cushion cover, and I think it's rather cute. This is one I'm definitely going to keep going with this. Well, I'm going to restart this, not from scratch. I'm gonna continue making this at some point. It's too good to not continue with it, and do you know, I kind of just forgot that it existed. And now that I've remembered, I'm kind of excited about having this again. Having the cushion again. It probably won't be for this room. My thought is for the studio in my garden. I've got a big chair. Well, it's not huge, but it's not small either. But it's, it has a bit, it reclines a little bit. It's comfy to sit on, but because a lot of the time when I'm sitting on that chair, it is to wind a warp for self-striping yarn. So because that's reclined, I tend to be like hunched over without any back support. So if I have a big cushion behind me that I can lean against, that's bringing me up to, instead of being like that, it's bringing my back up like that, a bit more comfortable work, and it will kind of stop me being so hunched over and hurting my back doing that. That's basically just an excuse to make a giant chicken cushion cover. That's that. Now in this bag, my Perth Festival of Yarn bag, this was made by Sew Can Joe. Is that her tag? Yeah. Sew Can Joe. I don't believe Joe makes bags regularly. I think it's just kind of one-offs. Special occasions and that, but this is, this is a huge bag. It's brilliant. It's really well made, lovely fabric, and it's got inside pockets, which is stunning. Unfortunately, despite being such a beautiful bag, it's ended up a bit of a project graveyard. So there's at least 2 projects in here. There could be more, who knows. This one is, oh god, sorry, this has ended up in quite a tangle. At some point in my life, I started like a low-pee jumper. There is some colour work going on, but you cannot really see it. You can see that there's something there, but you can't really tell what the motifs are. The colour, the difference between the colour just isn't strong enough for this sort of pattern. Because we've got this grey and then a slightly darker grey, but there's not a huge difference between the two. And like you can see that there's something going on here, but you can't really tell what the motif is supposed to be. I have no idea what pattern I was using for this. When I first seen this, I found this a couple months ago actually. I was looking for a needle, and I found the project Graveyard. I had no recollection of starting this whatsoever, and this yarn was gifted to me by my friend years and years and years ago, and I was thinking, was this maybe, you know, because basically they'd started making a Lopi jumper years ago, and they hated it. They didn't like working with it. They didn't like the yarn because Lopi is a bit scratchy. I actually think it feels quite lovely, but I like woolly wools. It would probably be quite itchy to wear like next to your skin, which I don't think is really kind of what people generally do with Lopi. It's generally like a top layer. You know, you'd wear a t-shirt underneath, or, you know, something underneath it. So initially when I first found this, I thought, oh, was this maybe what my friend was making with the yarn when they gave up? But I've since remembered that no, I decided I would do it. But I have no idea what pattern I decided I was doing. And I mean, actually from here you can kind of see the pattern. The colour work itself, I don't know if you can see, I'm actually doing okay with it. There's, you know, it's not too loose. It's kind of in the sweet spot, which is a shame that I stopped working on it. But now that I'm reviewing it, the colour work is annoying me. I don't like it. I think this would benefit from either more simpler colour work, i.e. like, you know, this is quite, you know, like kind of single stitches, they're not showing up. So either like really bold colour work or really simple, but simple and bold at the same time. So chunky basically. Having like single stitches aren't showing up because the contrast isn't high enough. So I don't think I'm going to keep knitting this. For a start, I don't know what pattern I was knitting, so I probably can't. Even if I wanted to continue with it, I probably wouldn't be able to. So I think this is going to be frogged. There's plenty of Lopi here in this bag, and I've got a cupboard full of it as well. So yeah, I think this might get ripped out and started again. I've not made a ton of progress on it, so it's not that, you know, it's not that much of a disaster to lose this progress that I don't remember doing anyway. So I'll pop that back in. And then this one makes me a little bit sad. This is, I don't remember the name of the pattern at all. The pattern is by Dragon Horde Yarns. If I remember, I'll, you know, write the name of the pattern down below. But it's a lovely pattern. It really, really is. I started this in the first lockdowns back in 2020. I'd never knit a garment until lockdown, and then I knit a Stephen West sweater. I think it's Marbled Mania or Marbled Magic. Can't remember which. But I knit that in 3 weeks to a month and absolutely loved it. And I was so addicted. I was like, this is me. I am a garment knitter now. I'm just going to cast garments on constantly. This is my lifestyle now. And then I cast this on. I was very, very excited about it. I mean, it is a great pattern. I love the yarn that I've used. I just love acid yellow. It's so much fun. But yeah, I started this. I done all of the colour work basically, and then I moved house. And then I basically never worked on it ever again. And looking at it now, I mean, what are the odds this would ever fit me? I've gained a lot of weight since I cast on, but even then, I don't know what pattern, no. I don't know what size of the pattern I used. But I don't think the size that I picked would have fit me even when I started knitting this. And that, yeah, that was a good few clothing sizes ago. So I think instead I've known, I mean, yeah, this isn't actually a sweater, it's a t-shirt. It's a cropped t-shirt, but I wasn't gonna crop it. And this is so close to being finished. Let me just stand up for a minute. I mean, like, here's my hip. The body is basically done. I've got one sleeve done. If I was to continue with it, I would knit the sleeve a bit longer. That's just a bit too short. And then there really isn't a lot to do. But I don't think it'll fit me. I mean, the body maybe needs, you know, like that much more, and then ribbing. The sleeve, it really doesn't need a lot more. Say that's my shoulder. Yeah. Like, this is, the t-shirt I've got on does have quite long sleeves for being like a short sleeve tee. It's like a boxy, oversized situation. I probably wouldn't knit it as long for this. I don't know. At this point, when I'm this close to being finished, I don't know if I should just keep going. Also, my colour work on this is so tight, it's really not great. This was one of the first like proper colour work things that I ever done, and it shows. Like, yeah, the bit with the moons is especially bad because there is quite, you know, large gaps between. Yeah, it seems a shame to rip it out because it is so close to being done, but if I don't rip it out, I'm probably not going to be able to wear it because it's not going to fit me. Although, I don't know, maybe like after blocking, maybe it will fit. But it'll be quite a snug fit. And for like a woolen t-shirt, I don't really want it to be snug. I run hot and sweaty. I would rather, it was kind of maybe like a bit, you know, like boxy. This is quite a heavyweight fabric, but because it's boxy, like it makes it a bit more, it gives me a bit more airflow. Yeah, I don't, part of me wants to rip it out, a big part of me wants to rip it out because I know I'm not going to wear it. Well, I probably won't wear it. And I don't really know anyone, if I was to finish this, I don't know anyone that I could give it to either. I just don't know. But I do have a cute stitch marker on it that I forgot I owned. I bought a few of these. Probably can't see that, but it's a little book. I got this from Mama, I believe. It is 1984 by George Orwell. Brilliant book. I had bought some Stephen King ones as well. Yeah, very cute. If I do rip this out, it'll be to get that stitch marker back. Oh, and I forgot about my little possum stitch markers. Oh, that's terribly cute. Oh yeah, that's a bit better. Oh, I believe I got the possum from Wee One's Creations, I think they're called. Bought them a while ago. I paid more than I should have paid for stitch markers, but because they were coming from the US, obviously the shipping was the same price as them, and they're handmade. You know, they're quite detailed for how small they are, so yeah. I love them and I don't regret buying them whatsoever. Worth every penny. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you think I should rip this out. A big part of me thinks I should, but it seems like such a shame when we're so close to the finish line. And so that's that bag. I mean, there could be more projects in that bag, who knows? There's lots of things in that bag. The next thing I have, this is my scrap bag. It's in an Easy Knits tote bag, and it's got some random, there's a little alpaca pin. Oh, I forgot about these. These are some little badges that I got from Queen of Pearls. So this must have been 2018. And that one's also from Queen of Pearls. It's a goat she's seen up a mountain in Scotland. And I just loved that she was making badges out of them, and obviously needed to purchase them as quickly as possible. So this is my scrap bag. This is all 4-ply, I think it's supposed to be. So the idea behind this bag was basically, if I knit a pair of socks, I would throw the rest in this bag and it would go onto my scrappy sock blanket. So this is my mitered square blanket. I think people were calling these like fond memories or cozy memory blankets. There was a specific pattern kind of when I first started knitting, maybe like, well, not when I started knitting, but when I first kind of got into knitting properly. There was a specific pattern called the like cozy memories or fond memories blanket. I'm not following that, it's just mitered squares. They've been a thing for years. But this is a second one. I did start one years prior, but I was doing very, very small squares, whereas these, I think I'm using 64 stitches, which is what I use for socks. So it kind of made sense. And I have all of my mitered squares going in the same direction. And I have a little kind of double row. I've got 2 rows of black going at the start of each one. So it creates a nice border around each of them and allows them to stand out. So because I've got them all going in the same direction, I'm going to have to basically make half mitered squares to fill in the corners. Because everything's going in the one direction, I can't, or could I? If I made this a lot more difficult for myself. Oh no, I could, but everything would be on an angle. No. Yeah. I have to do the half squares. I don't really remember how I was doing the half squares because I've not worked on this in 2 or 3 years. Something like that. But yeah, I absolutely loved this. And I've done, a fair amount on it. It's wider than this crocheted blanket is. So I don't need to add anything on to the sides anymore. I'm happy with that. So I can just work on going up. But I do remember, normally I wouldn't kind of put it down in the middle of a row. But I do remember actually kind of rage quitting this one because I ran out of yarn and it's nowhere near finished. I still don't know what to do with that. It's been years. But yeah, no idea what I'm going to do with that. So yeah, this one, I'm going to keep knitting on it at some point. I love it. I think it looks great. It's a classic, but it is a lot of work because it is 4-ply with 2.75mm needles. So it is quite a tight gauge. And to knit a blanket on that gauge, you know, that's kind of... I use 2.5mm needles when I'm knitting socks. So 2.75 is very, very similar gauge. Knitting a whole blanket on that gauge, that's a lot of work. There's a lot of work in this already, but there's a hell of a lot more to go. I think this is going to be something that I keep on for years. This is also something that I wouldn't necessarily class this as a work in progress because there isn't an end goal in mind. It's kind of something I'm just going to keep adding to over the years, hopefully more frequently than I have been. Yeah. So that's that. I'm gonna keep on with it. I'll need to kind of get into the swing of making it again. I do have another project in here. They were in separate bags. I don't know why they're not anymore because I have empty bags sitting, so I don't know why that's the case. This one I've definitely fallen out of love with. I cannot for the life of me remember what this pattern is. I think it looks great. It looks wonderful. Oh, I can't remember the name of the designer either. They have a top called Magpie Tendencies. That's all I remember. Actually, I don't even know if that's the same person. Oh, it's a northeasterly blanket. So this is knit to the same gauge. It's 4-ply and I'm using 2.75mm needles. When it's all worked up together, you get kind of chevrons, kind of a chevron pattern, but not necessarily running across, you know, like the same kind of break in colour running across. You can do it however you want. I've seen some people who stop at the same point, so you have these defined lines between the different yarns. And I've seen people who just stagger it. Some people do, you know, they're each section the same length. Some people, you know, just kind of basically knit until they get bored and move on. They all look great. They look phenomenal. I don't really like working on it. And I haven't for years. This hasn't been touched, you know, since way before the last time I touched the mitered square. The mitered square is really kind of mindless. It's, you know, TV knitting. You don't need to think about it. Whereas this, I need to think about it a little bit more. Off the top of my head, I can't remember how to do it. I would need to look at the pattern. Mitered square, I could do with my eyes shut. I've not made much progress on this, and that is because I've not enjoyed the process. So I think that tells me to give up. Yeah, I'm not going to continue with that. I'll keep a hold of this for some reason. It's not as if it's taking much space. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll find a use for it. Maybe I'll take the urge to work on it again. But I don't foresee it. So that is actually all of my works in progress, including the ones that I don't consider works in progress because there's no end date. And that's me. Yeah, next month, hopefully, hopefully the puppy calms down and I can get a bit more time to myself and start working on some other projects, because I would really, really like that. I do think, you know, the next things I cast on is going to be baby things because of the amount of babies that are flying around at the moment. Bit of a child epidemic in my neck of the woods, it seems. But yeah, thanks for joining. I hope you enjoyed this. All of my social media links will be below, and I'll try and list the names of patterns and designers. I'm not great at that, but I'll make an effort. So yeah, until next time, thanks for watching. Bye.